Welcome to this video. With this video, we begin the first unit of microeconomics, which is the theory of consumer behavior, or in simple words, it is often called consumer theory. So let's go ahead. Now, think of the time you were young, maybe as young as a kid. You may remember many occasions when you wanted your elders to buy you something, but your request was outrightly rejected. And the result was this story repeated numerous times. It is even possible that at that time you thought, okay, so when I grow up, I'm going to buy these things whenever I want. And slowly you did grow up. But the situation was far from perfect. You now have a certain amount of money at your disposal, but you have many goods to buy. For instance, you may want to buy a phone, a laptop, tablet, smartwatch, groceries, and your expense may even increase during the festive season. Holi, Diwali, Eid, Christmas, and of course the Valentine's week. I'm sure you have a lot to spend on. Also, when you combine your preferences with that of another individual, there will be many situations in which you would actually end up looking in different directions. And this may continue for many years. Okay, sorry for being so dramatic, but the basic idea which I wanted to convey is that as consumers, we often face the problem of choice, which means we have to decide how to spend our money income on different goods of our interest based on our preferences and the budget constraint. In this unit, this is what we will be covering. So we will be going along in this fashion. First, we will discuss the concept of utility. After that, we will discuss cardinal utility analysis. Then we will move to ordinal utility analysis, and under this we will discuss indifference curve, the types of indifference curve, how to derive optimal choice for these different indifference curves, what is income of a curve and the angel curve, what is price of a curve and the demand curve. After that, we will discuss the revealed preference theory. So why is this unit so interesting? See, consumer theory is the study of how people decide to spend their money based on their preference and budget constraint. As a branch of economics, consumer theory shows how individuals make choices subject to how much income they have and the prices of goods and services. This is why this unit is so interesting, and at the end of this unit, you should think which of the theories that we have discussed is most applicable to you, and which of these theories is most applicable on most people. And if a particular theory is the one which fits most people, then what is the purpose of other theories, right? So you should think in these directions. Now please note this down and then let's move ahead. Moving on. Throughout this unit, in fact, throughout this course, you should have a clear distinction, clear eye on assumptions. You should know what assumption we are making. You should know why we are making those assumptions, and you should know the implications of those assumptions. Okay, so have a very good understanding of assumptions at each of these stages. Now, consumer theory can be applied to many different fields, remember, such as marketing, advertising, etc. So it's not just the product that we will be discussing. The results or theory which we will discuss will be applicable to different situations. There will be some common assumptions throughout this course or throughout this, at least this unit. For example, first of all economists like to assume that people are rational and seek to maximize their individual utility functions. So what this means is people take decisions in a way which are expected to give them higher utility. We also assume that preferences are consistent in the sense that they do not change very quickly. So this is required so that we are able to assume that people behave in a predictable way. Let's move ahead. Next, we also assume that consumers have perfect information. This means that they know what goods are available, where they are available, what will be the impact if the consumer purchases those goods. For example, how good it will taste, or how will a new device work. These things we assume that consumer already has perfect information about it. Next, we also assume that consumers are price takers. They do not negotiate the price and they just take whatever price is given. Moving on. Next, we also assume that prices are linear, which means that there are no discounts if the consumer buys more of a quantity. So if 1 unit costs a person, let's say if 1 unit cost a person 5 rupees, then 10 units will cost that person 50 units. Okay, so there are no discounts as such if the person buys more of the good. We also assume that goods are divisible. For example, a person may consume 2.5 units or 2.8 units or 2.9 units. This is done just to simplify our mathematics for that we use. However, in the case of discrete goods, when we specifically mention that the goods which we are discussing are discrete goods, this assumption of goods being divisible does not hold. So what are discrete goods? If you recall this from our classes on the course 1, you would know a discrete number means something which is of this sort, right? So similarly, a discrete good is a good which is available only in integer amounts and not in decimals. For example, if you are discussing the case of a car, you can either have 1 car, 2 car or 3 cars. You cannot have 2.5 cars. Correct? So let's go ahead. So this was the basic introduction that we needed to have before we went deeper into this unit. From the next part onwards, we will be discussing the concept of utility. Okay, so let's stop here in this video.